Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Story number 1. Kitten PDS, written by Slow-AD-2584. The hive ship of the Kuristic unleashed a deadly attack swarm upon the human battlecruiser. This was an isolated encounter on the fringe of contested system. The hive ship hoped to get a surprise attack on the human ship. Due to the hive-like nature of the aliens, the attack was with many missile-like drones, thousands at once, each swerving and dodging on their way in as a chaotic swarm, specifically designed to overcome point defense systems. The drones/missile craft approached rather slowly, spending most of their effort in dazzling chaotic dodging movements. When they surrounded and attached to the target ship, the shaped charges would detonate. It was a terribly effective swarm attack method. The human cruiser appeared doomed. The cruiser point defense lasers fired frantically as fast as it could, but only the very rarely scored a lucky hit. The missiles were flitting around almost too fast to see, and there were thousands of them. On board the cruiser in the Combat Information Center, the weapons officer oversaw the encounter. He noted the panic in the crewmen gunners, saw the warning flags on multiple screens, perceived all the metadata from all the computers, each one of them also red flagging their overload and inability to track what amounted to a hairball approaching. He tapped his chin in tactical thought. Then he gave the order, "Gentlemen, enable the floof." Some of the older crewmen's faces shifted from concern to excited joy, but most of the newer kids looked down in confusion. Logins were entered, guarded switches were flipped, key lock authorizations were given. The lights and displays in the CIC flickered as massive data dumps of all the sensors were ported to another part of the ship. Deep in the core of the ship, heavily armored in an enclosure, a ball of fur was sleeping in a heated pillow, purring contentedly. The name Floofertail was embroidered in gold thread on the front of the bed pillow. Lights began to rise into dim candlelight levels, and the artificial chirping of a bird sounded. The kitten awoke to the sound and looked around for the source, and it saw it, a red dot. It was a dodging and flitting dot on the display screen curving up from the floor in the hemispherical display. Outside the enclosure, computers were humming with the raw data from the sensors and were calculating how to display it inside. The kitten, almost skunk-like fluffy tail, swiped left and right in excitement, and the kitten's eyes dilated wide open. It bobbed its legs for the pounce. Outside the ship, a special laser turret was rising from the guarded socket. It had a pair of defensive lasers, and each was linked to extremely rapid actuator servos. The turret itself was almost mounted on a track system, able to move forward, back, left, right, a bit along its section of the hull. The kitten pounced and slapped the red dot with its right paw. The right laser flicked and zapped a missile in the distance. "The floof has engaged. If this works, you're in for a show, kids." Inside, on the display, more dots were presented, introduced slowly, fading into view. The kitten hopped and flipped around, clearly excited at all the targets, and started swatting. On the surface of the cloud of missiles, detonations were spreading, like a wave across the face of the cloud of missiles. The new turret was a blur of motion, its lasers sending out rapid but accurate shots. The hive mind was concerned. What sort of targeting system have they implemented? How could they have possibly tracked and hit so many? The hive signaled to the swarm to spread out in an entire hemisphere around the target ship. In the floof chamber, the red dots spread out all over the curved display. The kitten swished its tail again and began leaping in all directions of the chamber, all over the walls and ceiling as it joyfully swatted more. The turret became a blur along its section of the hull, moving almost too fast to see. Yet the lasers continued to accurately bap, flitting and dodging missiles away at near constant rate. Before long, there was only a single missile left. Inside the CIC, there were 2 screens showing the action. One showed the swarm of missiles being destroyed, the other showed the fluffy kitten happily leaping around in all directions. most of the crew watching the kitten, even in light of this imminent danger. The hive mind had enough. It took personal control of the final missile, using its vast distributed hive mind to be the unequaled intelligences and reflexes in the known galaxy. The ability to control thousands of individual drones, now hyper-focused to control just one. In the chamber, there was one dot left. This one was tricky. The kitten leapt and swiped, but the dot kept evading. Outside the ship, the lasers were flying out all over in waves, and the missile deftly danced amid them as it swerved in. The kitten hummed in a teeny-tiny growl and leapt at the dot, an arm swatting to each side of it, bracketing it. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. The missile was straining, dodging left and right to evade the accelerating shots that were closing in on it. How could the defense turret possibly be so rapid and accurate? It didn't matter, though. The bracketing fire merely brought the missile straight into the turret itself. That suited the hive mind fine. It would happily destroy that troublesome defense turret. As the missile got close, continuing to barely evade the bracketing fire, it got within 100 meters of the human cruiser. Inside the floof chamber, the red dot was heard between the kitten's arms. Every time the dot moved left, the paw left cut it off, and the process accelerated to astonishing rapidity. And the dot was right under the kitten's chin when, between the two laser cannon arms, a hatch opened and a flechette-charged claymore-like device was revealed. As the kitten chomped down on the red dot, the missile was shredded by the blast it was corralled into meeting. Inside the chamber, the kitten stood, ready to pounce, head darting to look around in all directions. There was nothing. It gave out a little meep of disappointment and returned to bed, to curl up contentedly on the nice, warm pillow, eager for another go. The hive ship backed away, disengaging in more than a little confusion and alarm. Alert command! The feline-linked optimization optical fire control interface is very effective against the acoustic swarmers attack. Requisition additional reward goodies, fleet-wide. End of story. Story number 2. Definitions written by Ozzy Endeavor. Ever since humanity joined the rest of the sapient species amongst the stars, we all became aware of just how much humans bond with those around them. It is common knowledge that they have, by far, the most domesticated species of any of us, and form social connections stupidly quickly. I wouldn't find out just how far an attachment like this goes until not too long ago. I was placed aboard a starship with many human crew members. We were told that we were on a mission to recover some old technology from before the humans left their home planet, Earth. I didn't know exactly why we were recovering it, but I speculated that there was some information or something in it. We traveled to a point in space only about 1/4 of a light year from the Sol system, and found it. It wasn't anything special. To be honest, I wondered how it had managed to stay together for however many years it had been drifting through space. After it was brought on board, all the humans seemed very excited and jolly. I mean, it's just a pile of outdated tech. My, is everyone so happy? I inquired this to one of my friends. It's called Voyager. It was the first man-made thing to reach interstellar space, and after all these years, it'll see Earth again. I was confused, to put it lightly. Apparently, the humans had given a space probe a name. Since it was a proper noun, it wasn't translated by the implant in my ear. You give your space probes names. We just call them by their date of launch. Yeah, it goes back generations. We named everything we launched into space. It helped make each one unique, and we got attached to them. What does this one's name mean? It means someone who goes on a very long and sometimes very dangerous journey. It fits, don't you think? I was surprised, but very curious. After we set course for Earth, I decided to dive into the logs of other probes and crafts the human had sent into space. To the next planet over, Mars, they sent rovers such as curiosity, the intense desire to gain knowledge, perseverance, the will to continue in the face of difficulties, opportunity, a time or an event that allows for something else to occur, and many more beyond. Before I knew it, I was looking up definitions for these names. When I first heard my crewmate explain the origins of Voyager, I thought that humanity just gave cute pet names to inanimate objects for some dumb reason not even worth understanding. Oh boy, was I wrong. Each name that was given means something greater than the limitations of the craft itself. Each name invoked a feeling of determination. They carried humanity through space and told stories of the craft's missions and achievements. You can probably understand the purpose of the craft New Horizons without needing any explanation or elaboration at all. It is magnificent. I think the attachment to these probes the humans have is starting to rub off on me. End of story. Just a quick shout out to the T5 peeps. Bob the Dragon, Cat Crab Lobster, Data Magnet, Dark Machine, Bezic, Try Again 95, Fudic Yol, Astrea the Dreamer, Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Athelia, Meridian 117, and Jordan Bucksmorm. Thank you very much. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed. There are links down below, both to support this channel and for the author of this fiction. Anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.